The silence was not merely the absence of sound, it was a physical weight, a suffocating blanket woven from betrayal and 23 years of subtle neglect. It hung heavy in the warm, mahogany-scented air of the dining room, a stark contrast to the clatter of silverware and the easy laughter that defined a normal Sunday dinner. My father's words, "We gave your wedding fund to your sister. She deserves a royal wedding," echoed not just off the walls, but deep within the hollow chamber of my chest. It wasn't the $10,000 itself, it was the brutal, unvarnished statement of my inherent worthlessness in their eyes. The money was merely a proxy, a stand-in or substitute for their affirmation, their belief in my future, their unconditional love. That love, it turned out, was decidedly conditional, predicated upon a set of materialistic, excessively concerned with wealth and possessions, achievements that I, the freelance graphic designer from community college, had failed to meet. Across the table, my sister Sarah, a monument to corporate success in her cream blazer, glowed with the smug, having or showing an excessive satisfaction with oneself or one's achievements, satisfaction of the victor. Her smile was the final, lacerating cut, confirming that this public indictment, a formal accusation or, in this context, a strong sign of fault, was a calculated, premeditated strike. The room, which once symbolized family, now felt like a courtroom where I had been judged and found wanting, lacking in a necessary or desired quality. The true depth of the historical and philosophical irony in that moment was profound. Throughout history, the quest for patrimony, an estate or property inherited from one's father or male ancestor, has driven monumental narratives, from Shakespeare's tragedies to the foundation of Western legal systems. Yet, my struggle was not for a feudal estate, but for a fundamental human right, equity, fairness, and justice in the way people are treated, and acknowledgement within my own family. My father, in his self-appointed role as the dispenser of wisdom, failed to grasp the core principle of universal ethics, often articulated by figures from Aristotle to Kant, that every individual possesses inherent, intrinsic, belonging naturally, essential value, regardless of external achievement. His condescending comparison between my shaky foundation and Sarah's substantial one was a classic modern manifestation of judging the cover and missing the narrative depth, a shallow assessment that values the title on a book's spine over the richness of its content. His dismissal of my freelance career, a manifestation of entrepreneurial, related to starting businesses and taking financial risks, spirit and creative independence, as a mere lack of achievement, revealed a narrow, archaic definition of success rooted purely in corporate hierarchy and traditional markers of wealth. This moment was a microcosm of a larger societal struggle where the subtle, nuanced pursuit of personal happiness and meaningful work is often overshadowed by the loud, flashing spectacle of financial power. My fiancé, Marcus, sitting quietly beside me, became the silent refutation, the action of proving a statement or theory to be wrong or false, of their entire worldview, a man who had mastered the very systems they revered, yet chose to live with humble prudence, the quality of being cautious and sensible, and discretion, the quality of behaving or speaking in such a way as to avoid causing offense or revealing private information. His silence was not weakness, it was the aplomb, complete self-confidence or assurance, of someone playing a chess game against opponents who believed they were merely playing checkers. The shock of his eventual revelation would shatter not just the family dynamic, but their very framework for understanding reality. The enduring lesson of this betrayal is the painful but vital truth. We must never surrender the definition of our worth to the limited, often blinkered, perspective of others. In what ways do we allow society or family to impose a definition of success that fundamentally contradicts our own path to genuine fulfillment? Marcus's measured movements, the deliberate scrape of his chair against the hardwood, were not a sign of anger, but the prelude, an action or event serving as an introduction to something more important, to an unforeseen and catastrophic shift in power. When he pulled out his phone, the air crackled with a new tension, the kind that signals a bomb is about to drop, not the whimper of a defeated party. His simple, direct reveal, Cloud Vault Solutions. founder and chief executive officer. Last month, we went public. The company is currently valued at $47 million. Was a rhetorical masterstroke, a performance of sheer, effortless gravitas, dignity, seriousness, or solemnity of manner that instantly dismantled the entire edifice of my family's shallow judgment. This was not merely a statement of wealth, it was an explanation of character. Marcus had executed the ultimate test of integrity and love, practicing a level of ascetic characterized by severe self-discipline and avoidance of all forms of indulgence, self-restraint, and humility, the quality or state of being humble. That was utterly foreign to the superficial values of the Morrisons and my own parents. His chosen method of success, data security, was a perfect analogy, a comparison between two things for his personal philosophy, protecting what is vulnerable, building layers of defense against the unseen, evolving threats of the digital age. The contrast between the casually dressed man who drove a reliable Honda and the CEO who commanded a $47 million empire was a living lesson in the difference between substance and show. My family, fixated on the superficial, existing or occurring at or on the surface, had dismissed the man of immeasurable, too large, extensive, or numerous to measure, substance. Bradley, the third-generation CPA, whose entire self-worth was likely tethered to a visible pedigree, visibly crumpled under the weight of this revelation. His entire professional identity, tied up in the pedantic, overly concerned with minute details or formalisms, world of auditing and balance sheets, seemed laughably small next to the dynamic, rapidly evolving world of cybersecurity. The historical element here is the timeless clash between old money and new innovation. My family and Bradley worshipped the stability of the established, the known, the predictable, safe, and often stagnant systems of the past. Marcus represented the meritocracy, a system in which advancement is based on ability or achievement, of the digital frontier, where a kid who started a company in a garage can, through sheer intellect and hard work, eclipses, overshadows, or surpasses generations of inherited wealth and status. His explanation, because I wanted to make absolutely sure you loved me for who I am, not for what I have, was the ultimate philosophical teaching, a testament to the pursuit of authentic connection in a world obsessed with quantifiable assets. It was a profound challenge to the notion that love, like business, is simply a transaction. What immediate, surface-level judgments do we make about others based on their appearance, possessions, or job title, and how often do those judgments mask a profound misunderstanding of their true character? The subsequent scene was a masterpiece of emotional collapse, a frantic, desperate scramble to reverse course, to change direction or opinion completely, that exposed the utter hypocrisy. The practice of claiming to have moral standards or beliefs to which one's own behavior does not conform, of my parents' previous lecture. Their sudden, stammering shift from condemnation to sycophantic, behaving or speaking in an excessively eager or flattering way to gain advantage, apology was the sound of a value system imploding in real time. Dad's frantic murmuring about misunderstanding and Mom's delicate, non-makeup smudging tears were not born of genuine remorse for the emotional damage they had inflicted, but of naked, self-serving opportunism, the practice of exploiting circumstances for immediate gain. They recognized the magnitude of their mistake, not because they had hurt their daughter, but because they had alienated a potential benefactor, one who gives financial or other aid. Sarah's immediate, explosive refusal to split the $10,000? Absolutely not. That money was given to me. I'm not giving it back. Was the pure, unfiltered essence of the competitive sibling rivalry that had defined our lives. It was a moment of unintended honesty, revealing that her triumph was not just about getting a wedding fund, but about winning against me. The money, to her, was a symbol of her established superiority. This entire dramatic spectacle, as Marcus astutely observed, was indeed educational, a live-action case study in familial dynamics, the patterns of interaction between family members, gone terribly awry, away from the appropriate, planned, or expected course. My decision to finally break my silence, to lay bare the ledger, a book or other collection of accounts, here used metaphorically, of every slight, Every missed ceremony, every unequal birthday celebration was the most liberating, giving a sense of release from restriction or difficulty. Act of the night. This was the moment I reclaimed my own narrative, moving from the overlooked character in their story to the narrator of my own life. The philosophical teaching here draws on the concept of reciprocity and justice in human relationships. A family is supposed to be founded on unconditional positive regard, a term from humanistic psychology meaning a basic acceptance and support of a person regardless of what the person says or does. My parents' love was revealed to be a complex, conditional contract, subject to financial performance reviews and status reports. My anger was not just about the money, it was the culmination, the highest or climactic point of something, of 2 decades of being forced to fight for a sliver of the attention that was freely bestowed upon my sister. Marcus, by asking me, "What do you want to do, Shelby? This is your family, your decision," gave me the most powerful gift, agency, the capacity of individuals to act independently and to make their own free choices. For the first time, my voice, my needs, and my emotional truth were the deciding factors in the room. What is the ultimate cost of conditional love, and how does the act of speaking your truth, even when painful, serve as a fundamental act of self-liberation? The shift in Marcus's actions from passive observer to active participant marked the 4th and most decisive turning point, a spectacular demonstration of fortitude, courage in pain or adversity, and unwavering devotion. When he unveiled the sleek tablet, he wasn't just showing me wedding plans. He was unveiling his heart and his true commitment to a relationship built on genuine connection, far eclipsing, making something seem less important or impressive. Any material offering. The photographs of the Castello di Morosa vineyard in Napa Valley, a location synonymous with opulence, great wealth or luxuriousness, and exclusivity, the state of being restricted to a particular person or group, were more than just images. They were a tangible, irrefutable, impossible to deny or disprove, counterargument to every word of my family's earlier critique. The total budget of $78,000, delivered with the calm nonchalance, the state of being coolly unconcerned, indifferent, or unexcited of someone discussing a minor expense, became a seismic event, a very great and far-reaching change in the room. This was nearly 8 times the money my parents had so callously redirected, highlighting the almost comical smallness of their frugality, the quality of being economical with money or food in the face of Marcus's true capacity. Sarah's visible dismay, concern and distress caused by something unexpected, and the final, broken whisper, "I was supposed to have the better wedding. I was supposed to be the daughter with the perfect life," was the ultimate catharsis, the process of releasing and thereby providing relief from strong or repressed emotions of our entire shared history. It stripped away the last pretense of her success being about personal achievement and revealed it as a weapon in a lifelong, zero-sum competition against her sister. The philosophical lesson embedded in Marcus's gesture was monumental. He was teaching me, and by extension my family, that true generosity is not a boast. It is a quiet, deliberate act of love and protection. His secret planning, coordinating with a world-class planner, reserving an entire estate, hiring a 2 Michelin-starred chef, was the definition of excellence in execution, a level of effort dedicated not to impressing strangers, but to creating a magical experience for the woman he loved. This stood in sharp contrast to Sarah's wedding, which, even in her triumphant moment, was framed as an event designed to impress their social circle, rather than a celebration of love. The historical relevance of this moment connects to the enduring human fascination with purity of motive. Marcus's actions harked back to the great, selfless romantic gestures of literature, underscoring the universal wisdom that the truest gifts are those given without expectation of return or public acknowledgement. His willingness to sacrifice the ego boost of public success for the authenticity of private connection was a testament to his profound moral compass, a natural feeling that makes people know what is right and wrong. The realization that the man I loved had been quietly building me a castle, both literally and figuratively, while my family was denying me a modest dowry, was not about materialism. It was about the validation, recognition, and affirmation of my dreams and my worth. If true love and respect are not transactional, how do we consciously ensure that our most significant gestures of affection are rooted in selfless giving rather than a desire for external approval? The final moments of the encounter served as a profound denouement, the final part of a play, movie, or narrative in which the strands of the plot are drawn together and matters are explained or resolved, bringing the entire narrative arc to a powerful, emotionally charged close. My family's collective, stunned silence, their faces contorted by a mixture of shame, disbelief, and calculating hope, was the silent admission of their profound error. Dad's continuous, stunned repetition of $78,000 was his mind attempting to process the financial magnitude of the chasm he had created between himself and his daughter's future. Mom's tearful plea to make this right was not an offer of reconciliation, but a desperate attempt at damage control, the process of limiting the damaging effects of an action or mistake. The wedding cake, described by Marcus as a sculpture-like creation from the pastry chef of the renowned French laundry, became the perfect metaphor. A figure of speech in which a word or phrase is applied to an object or action to which it is not literally applicable, for the vast difference in life philosophies. Sarah's world was a standard, pre-packaged event. Marcus's world was custom-designed artistry, creative skill, or ability. The helicopter transfers, the private reserve wines, the Monaco florist, these weren't just details. They were symbols of a limitless life they had actively tried to deny me. The ultimate decision, my demand for the return of the $10,000, not out of need, but as a symbolic act of retribution, punishment inflicted in return for an injury or offense, was the final assertion of my newfound strength. The money was no longer for a wedding. It was for a boundary. My statement, "Then I guess we know where everyone's priorities really lie," was the most devastatingly honest sentence of the night, a philosophical statement on the failure of family to embody the very principles they espoused. The wisdom gleaned from this entire harrowing experience is a universal one, applicable to every journey of self-discovery. Know your value. My journey, from the overlooked daughter to the fiancé of a multimillionaire, wasn't about the money. It was about the fundamental act of being seen and validated by the one person whose opinion truly mattered. The money, the vineyard, and the helicopter were simply the spectacular byproducts, a secondary product or unintended but somehow beneficial result of choosing an authentic, of undisputed origin, genuine life, and an authentic love. This narrative, a modern allegory of Cinderella and the CEO, ultimately serves as a powerful reminder for English learners that the truest power in language lies not in the complexity of vocabulary, but in the clarity and emotional weight of expressing one's unvarnished truth. The takeaway, a key fact or point to be remembered, is this: never let the small-minded judgments of others dictate the scale of your dreams or the depth of your self-worth.